is a lady watching. Your name is called Grace. The Lord is ministering to me that you are watching from Arkansas. The Lord said that go and release that seed now, for you have gone through 5 disappointments of relationship. But God said this one is going to work right now. God said release that seed right now. Go online and shout.
he's telling the people that are watching on the internet. He says there's a woman watching on the internet, and you've had bad relationships before. Now, go run, and get that seed in the ground. Did anybody ever hear Jesus talking like that? When Jesus was on the earth and he had his ministry for 3 years, did he ever go, when he was preaching, did he ever stand up and say, now, anybody here that's looking for a husband or a wife, come on, run up here. Come on, run up here with $50. I wonder sometimes, what is wrong with people? What is wrong with people? Are you that desperate? Are these people that desperate that they would bring up $50 for a husband or a wife? Oh, here's another part of that.
If you are here, say you are believing God for a marriage. If you are believing God for a marriage, just come and touch any part of the altar. For God said to me that between now and the year by this time, you will get married. Just touch and go. Sing it.
That's what he told them, to come up and touch the altar to get their husband or their wife. Anyway, I didn't play the $10,000. Here's the $10,000 when he's asking the 20 people to give the $10,000. He's a little hard to understand, but we'll try to get through the accent.
I was ministering to a young woman in New York. The Lord looked at the young woman and said, can you carry the blessing of this house? She looked at me and said, how? I said, the Lord said, your first $100,000 is getting out of your hand. She looked at me and said that, wow, I feel like passing out. But for the sake of God, I'm going to obey God. The young lady released the seed within a couple of few instants, and something supernatural happened. I don't know, maybe she may even be watching from somewhere online. And let me tell you, when the Lord sent a prophet to you, certain bold decision must be taken to bring you to your place of a turnaround. Because the church is in a place where God is ready to bless us, but we are still in the place. Until the Lord brings you to the field, He cannot engage you into certain level of blessing. I heard the word of the Lord ministering to me that this family is going to bless the work of God in a covenant of a seed of $70,000. What is 70? The Lord said to the Israelites, you'll be in captivity, but after 70 years, I'll bring you out and perform my good thoughts towards you. The Lord said that the end of your struggle and your challenges is now. And God said, out of this seed, you are being launched to the new capacity of God's grace and God's blessing. God said that this family, He needs that seed of 70,000 out of your hand. For what is not painful is not gainful. Keep it. What is not painful is not gainful. In the name of Jesus. There are some things that God begins to engage us. And it's through our determination and our zeal, that is how God begins to honor His word in our life. Anytime that God sent a prophet to you, get ready for your financial turnaround. But it only always begins with our obedience. Don't let God rest out of this seed. God ministered to me that give me 20 people tonight that I'm going to engage them with a covenant of $10,000. And God said that these people that I am bringing them out to the field, Jesus.
The Lord spoke to me and said that there would be 20 to bring up a seed. I said, Pastor Edward, see. I said, because God already told me.
10,000.
I wrote it because the Lord spoke to me.
Jesus.
God told me.
Oh, give the Lord a clap. Hear me? I want those 20 to pick up the envelope right now. Pick it up. Those 20 for the 10,000. Pick it up right now. And step aside here. Brothers, you and your wife go and work on your seed now. Go. Right there. Pick up the seed for the seed and the covenant of the 10,000, says the Lord. For I'm going to prove myself in your obedience. 20 people. God say, come out right now. There are times that the Lord shows up. Do you know what happened? When the children of Israel prayed to God for a food, the Lord sent manna to them. But after the Lord sending manna, they asked themselves, what is this? There are some things that God is doing, and you are online, you are watching us right now. There's a lady that you are watching us right now. The Lord said to me that your name is called Joyce. The Lord said to me that you have got 2 children. I'm talking about Nathaniel and Deborah. The Lord said to me that your husband has left the house for the past 3 months. God said, out of this covenant, something will be restored. God said, go and sow that seed now, for there is a...
Now, that really was awful. He's telling a woman, he says a name, but of course, he doesn't know anybody by that name looking that lost a husband. He's just making that up because there could be anybody listening that's happened to, where their husband left and they're left there with the children. And he's telling the woman to go send $10,000 and God is going to restore her marriage. How could anybody do that? Any human with any kind of compassion or feeling for people, just imagine some poor woman out there listening and her husband left her and she's left with 3 children or 4 children to raise, and she's desperate. She's desperate. She's depressed. She doesn't know what to do or where to turn. He's telling them to send $10,000 and God's going to restore your marriage. And then he tells the people, notice in the beginning when he's asking for the 10,000 and he's telling them that this is going to be their time for a turnaround and they'll never have to struggle again. Anybody that lives life, there is no guarantees of not having any kind of struggles in life. As long as we're here on this earth, we're going to have some kind of struggle, or we're going to go through some kind of tribulation with people, with family members. You just don't know. You can't tell people that just because they give money that they're never going to have to go through another trial. Even Jesus didn't say that. Jesus said that in this world you will have tribulation. That's a promise. It's just this man, he's just a liar. He's a liar and a thief. A thief. And so is Paula White. She should be ashamed of herself, but I doubt that she is. Here's the second part.
For the past 3 months, God said, out of this covenant, something will be restored. God said, go and sow that seed now, for there is a miracle. The Lord said to me that you are watching from Arizona right now. Holy Ghost! 20 people, God is waiting on you right now. Why are you sitting down whilst God is knocking at your door that you are one of them? God said to me that this covenant is the covenant to come out to the field, for I am going to engage my miracle and my mercy and my testimony with you. Step out right now. For the last time, the Lord said to me that call my children that they obey and believe me in my covenant. You are trusting God for a new car. You are trusting God for good health. The Lord says that this covenant is going to speak 20 people. The Lord told me. And I'm going to pray with you. I'm going to pray with you. Father, in the name of Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Let the miracle be released right now. Let the testimony be released right now. Let the access be granted right now. Let the doors be open right now. In the name of Jesus. Hadaya badelebo siyata. Adia makaba delebo sabadia bata. Imadolebo sobodeleboka. Adaya badelebo siya. Zibadaya bat. Father, thank you. Also, the Lord ministered to me. Those of them that are engaging in this part of the covenant, from the 50,000, 70,000, the 10,000, God said to me that you're going to arrange them, and we're going to have a meeting with them for the next line of instructions. And it's going to be done between tonight or tomorrow night. God said to me, something is going to happen. Go to the altar and release your covenant now. Go to the altar. Thank you, Jesus. Wherever you are, God is waiting on you. God is raising in this house a revolution of people. They say that it's my time to release my covenant with God. There are some things that God begins to engage you. Don't sit down. Those I was working on you, I'm going to see your prayers. Come, you and your family. Give me oil. Come. You release your miracle. You release your miracle. We release. Come. I bless you for this new age. That this age will be the age of happiness.
You know, a few interesting things there in that audio. He says, God is waiting on you. Can you imagine our holy God, the creator of the universe, the person that so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son? Could you imagine our God sitting on the throne waiting for people to come up in a church service and give some idiot reprobate $10,000? People. And notice he says, Paul is standing next to him, and we heard her say that she wrote it down. The Lord told her even before he said it that 20 people were supposed to give $10,000. We're in the first place. God doesn't talk like that. He doesn't talk like that. Jesus never talked like that. And God certainly isn't sitting on his throne up in heaven talking like that. And she says, I wrote it down. Look, I wrote it down even before he said it. 20 people, $10,000. Like, oh yeah, like they didn't have, him and her weren't in cahoots together over this thing about how much they were going to collect. That's why she brought him there. She certainly didn't bring him there to minister to the people. She brought him there to minister to herself. And he says that, apostle, he calls her apostle. I don't know what she's apostle of. The other two churches that she started in Tampa and Lakeland went bankrupt and they were bulldozed. I don't know what apostle she is. And she's cleaning out the place over there in Apopka too. So I don't know what kind of an apostle she is. And so he says, we're going to call a special meeting within, I guess, like the next 24 hours of all the people that gave $10,000 or more. So in other words, the 20 people that gave the 10,000, the one lady that gave the 50, and the couple that gave the 70, we're going to have a special meeting, him and Paula, and he's going to have a special word for them. Well, the only reason why he's saying that is because he wants to make sure that these people write out their checks. Oh, they're going to come and have a special meeting with her and him, and he's going to give them a word to make sure that. Now, just think of it. That's right there. That's $320,000 that he got right there. And then after that, he says there's 70 people here to give 1,000. 70 people to give 1,000. Now, there didn't look like there was 200 people in the place that night. He was cleaning those people out. So that's like almost $400,000 that he tried to take in that night. And he was fleecing people the night before. And they had 2 afternoon services, and he was fleecing the people there. And then last night he was fleecing the people. So I guess if they'd take in all the money that was supposedly pledged, they probably would take in $500,000. Not honestly. Okay, Paula White. There's pleasure in sin for a season. You might be giddy right now, thinking how easy it was to get that money. But you're going to reap what you sow eventually. You're going to reap what you sow if you don't repent and stop this foolishness. Because the Bible says whatever isn't of faith is sin. And if we don't have enough faith to have a ministry without lying to people and robbing people, then we better not have any kind of a ministry. We're better just sit down and shut up and go away. That would be the best thing to do, and leave people alone. Just leave people alone. Let's read a few scriptures about consulting with witches. What happens when you consult with diviners and witches? Leviticus 19:26. Ye shall not eat anything with the blood, neither shall ye use enchantment, which this so-called prophet is using. Colossians 2:8-10. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men and the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. And that's what that is. It's vain deceit to make you believe that you don't have to work to get things. You don't have to have integrity to get things. Just come up in a church service and give 1,000 or 10,000 or 50,000, and God's just going to give you everything you want. Oh, that's a lie. That's a lie. 2 Kings 17:17. And they ceased, and they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. One thing for sure, God didn't say any of those things. And it says right here, you chose to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Jeremiah 27:9. Therefore hearken not to your prophets, nor to your diviners, nor to your dreamers, nor to your enchanters, nor to your sorcerers, which speak unto you, saying, ye shall not serve the king of Babylon. 1 John 4:6-8. We are of God. He that knoweth God heareth us. He that is not of God heareth not us. Hereby we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. Micah 5:12. And I will cut off witchcrafts out of thine hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. And this is a good one for this guy. Acts 8:9-13. But there was a certain man called Simon, this guy, which before time in the same city used sorcery and bewitched the people of Apopka, says Samaria, giving out himself was some great one. Oh, he brags. He's a prophet of God. You're no prophet of God. You're a soothsayer, a diviner, a warlock. 2 Kings 9:22. And it shall come to pass when Joram saw Jehu that he said, Is it peace, Jehu? And he answered, What peace? So long as the whoredoms of my mother Jezebel and her witchcrafts are so many. Jezebel, Paula. Leviticus 20:27. A man also or woman that hath a familiar spirit, or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones. Their blood shall be upon them. It's a good thing that they're not living in Old Testament times. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. Leviticus 19:31. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. That's a warning for those people over there at New Destiny. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them, because they're defiling you over there. You're going to be broke the next time you come back. 2 Kings 21:6. And he made his son pass through the fire, and observed times, and used enchantments, and dealt with familiar spirits and wizards. He wrought much wickedness in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger. Deuteronomy 18:9-12. When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. We don't use witchcraft. We don't use sorcery. We don't use manipulation to fund ministries. That's not of God. Those people better run for their lives out of that place. I mean, they're already emptying the place out. They didn't have a good crowd there. Paula said, it's going to build. Every night the crowds are going to get bigger. They didn't. The crowds got smaller because I guess some people finally realized that this so-called prophet wasn't coming there to bless them. He was coming there to bless Paula. Because she needed some money. If you're going to have a church service and you're billing it as a church service to bless people, forego the offering, okay? Forego the offering for one time. Has there ever been one service since you've been there, Paula White at New Destiny? Has there ever been one service there where you didn't receive an offering? One service where you left those poor people alone to come to church? Who wants to go to church and have their wallet emptied, their checkbook emptied? I don't want to go to church and be stressed out. Could you imagine those people were coming there, some of those